What's going on, everyone? So we have a trade, a three-team trade at that. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Denver Nuggets, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Peyton Watson has officially been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So a couple things. One, Cleveland ends up getting their starting and long-term starting wing next 4 years. They gave him $88 million. Go over all the details here in a second. This also hopefully is kind of that first domino amongst dominoes, right? Like, you know, there's a lot of talks about like, oh, is the Kawhi situation going to happen first? Because depending on how that goes, could dictate, you know, the Peyton Watson situation. Like if, you know, the Toronto Raptors don't end up landing Peyton or Kawhi Leonard, then that could cause them to maybe go after Peyton Watson, or maybe the Clippers go after Peyton Watson if his contract got voided, right? So it's kind of like, okay, is the Kawhi going to be the first domino? Well, nope, turns out it was Peyton Watson, and we'll see how this goes. And the Clippers were even involved in this, landing Max Strus. But according to Shams Charania, Cleveland, Denver, and the Los Angeles Clippers have agreed on a trade, sending Peyton Watson to the Cavaliers, Max Strus to LA, and an unprotected 31 Cavs first-round pick and a 2032 Kings second-round pick to the Nuggets, sources tell ESPN. Watson will sign a new 4-year, $88 million deal to join the Cavaliers, plus a player option and a trade kicker. So a sign and trade has to be minimum 3 years, right? Now, you're not allowed to give a player option on that 3 years. But if you add a fourth year, yes, you can do that. The NBA has a requirement. If you meet that requirement, then beyond that, then you can do the player options. So they can now officially do that. But this is very, very fascinating. So again, you're looking at the Cavs, Nuggets, Clippers doing this three-team deal. The Cleveland Cavaliers officially have no more tradable first. That was their last tradable first. And one of these seconds is actually coming from the Los Angeles Clippers. So Shams added, the reigning Eastern finalist Cavaliers have retooled their roster now, bringing in a 23-year-old wing for athleticism and scoring after a career season and trading out Strus and Dennis Schroeder over the last week. The Nuggets are landing a valuable far-out first-rounder plus a second, while the Clippers move a 2027 second-rounder acquired from Philadelphia in the Johnny Broome trade to acquire an established player in Strus via trade exception. So basically, they got a free second, flipped that, and turned it into Max Strus, and then in order to do that, also something that's not mentioned here is that the that Denver should, if I'm not mistaken, should be getting a trade option, which could be good, or trade exception. Not trade option. Shams literally just updated and said Denver, Cleveland, and Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul and his agent Lucas Newton and Calvin Andrews finalized the new home Wednesday in a difficult, restricted free agency landscape, with Watson reps navigating interest and offers from the Bucks, the Trailblazers, and the Clippers before narrowing on a guaranteed $88 million deal with the Cavaliers. So again, this is great for Cleveland. Gives them a 23-year-old potential 3-and-D guy that looked like an all-star. Granted, for only a month, it was a small sample size, but they're banking on him being that. Well, I have a Laker channel. I'm sure many of you watching this video know. If you don't, and you're a Laker fan, go subscribe to that channel, as it stands Lakers. But for those that do know, one of the things that I talked about with Peyton Watson is if the Lakers were ever able to land him, I didn't think that they would be able to, but hypothetically speaking, if they ever were, it talks about you're not getting him for what he is right now. You're getting him for what he could be. And the promise that he showed as a player, you're hoping that translates to a full season. And, he looked every bit that part. Well, now you have Peyton Watson going to a team in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Clippers, they get a Max Strus, and he's an expiring contract. So if it doesn't work out, they just let him go. They could flip him later, right? I think this is actually a great move by the Los Angeles Clippers. So solid pickup for them. I mean, and there were a lot of arguments even for, because Cavs were in the race for, Jonathan Kuminga, Peyton Watson, stuff like that. So it was kind of like, is it even worth giving up Strus for those guys? Well, now the Clippers get him for free because the pick that they gave up wasn't even a pick that was one of theirs. It was one that they got for taking on Johnny Broom. So they were paid to take on a young player and then just got another veteran guy that is going to be really good for that team. So I think this makes a ton of sense for the Clippers. And then finally, you just look at, this situation, which, like I mentioned, this could be the first domino, particularly with Jonathan Kuminga. Speaking of my Lakers, right? Well, Jonathan Kuminga, the one kind of team that he was trying to leverage against the Lakers was the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're off the table. Hate to break it to you. The Cleveland Cavaliers had no interest. They wanted Peyton Watson. They went and got Peyton Watson. They did everything they could to get Peyton Watson. So now that that's off the table, unless the Milwaukee Bucks or something like that are going to pivot to Jonathan Kuminga, which I don't really see, to be honest. Maybe we'll see. What's left? What are you waiting for? This just blew up in his face, right? Like, this wasn't good for him. Last thing he wanted was the Cavs to go and land Peyton Watson because that basically took away all his leverage. Still think the Lakers will give him something, but this is not a good position to be in if you're, Jonathan Kuminga. But, as far as this trade goes for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think this makes a lot of sense, right? You get a young, up-and-coming 3-and-D wing that is really hard to find. Last season shooting 40%, being able to be that defensive piece that could defend basically 1 through 4 for you. With 6'8" size, he can essentially slot in technically 1 through 4 for you. He's really kind of more that 2-3, but with his size and length, I do think you can slot him in at the 4 at times. He's just got the size and versatility to be very versatile and dynamic. You could play him basically wherever you want. I just think that has a lot of value in and of itself. So this is just a great opportunity, I think, for the Cleveland Cavaliers to bring in somebody that just has a ton of upside and promise. But you're paying him $22 million a year, so they're really banking on him becoming something. They're really banking on him becoming that kind of not necessarily all-star, but just a higher end 3-and-D wing. You're locked into him for 4 years, and if he doesn't become what you're hoping for or what that team needs, you got a bad contract for the next 4 years that you're not going to be able to move and get off of, and you don't have any assets to help you get off of. So you could be in a bad position. So we'll see how this all plays out as we move forward. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. What do you think? How you feel? What are your thoughts? Love to hear it either way. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Else not, if you enjoy these types of videos, truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thanks.